Good afternoon. Today is October 15th, 2021. It's Friday. And today, it's hard to call this an uptrend day, but I mean, we made higher lows every single time. So it definitely was an uptrend day. But it was just very, very, very slow. There are probably some places you could have gone short in here. Not too many, though. I marked these two aggressive ones. I don't see anything I like over here, though. We just got this second entry set up right here. That actually, yeah, that's second entry. So, but yeah, I'm pretty confident. I mean, it's a spike in channel, but this was really a channel in itself too. This spike and channel, but this was a channel. Got a break, moved to a new high, but we kept bouncing off this trend line. So there was probably a few ways you could view the top of this channel too, because of the midlines, but I settled on it being just about maybe right there. I think, as you can see, we get a bunch of touches in here. Looks like it might gap over right here. Touch right there. Touch there and there. And then here and here. So that's why I left that midline there. So yeah, let's take a look at these trades. Before I forget, I'm not sure if I'll be able to post a video on Tuesday. I'll try, but doing some family activities Tuesday, so might miss the chart lesson that day. So the first setup that I viewed, and this is definitely aggressive, but if you draw the trend line off here and this low, and it works off of these highs, you might take this as a failed second entry short and a second entry long. You see, this was probably the overnight high. We bounced there, but then we make a new high, and we get a first failed second entry short, and it's a first second entry long. So just on the second entry long or failure, it wouldn't be good because this is too congested. But the fact that it's a second entry long as well. And if it was just a second entry long, you wouldn't want to take it because the signal bar is no good. But with both of those factors combined, and it's off the trend line, and we had this leg of correction, a break, and a move to a new low, with all those things being taken into consideration, I think you can go long there. We started to form this yellow channel. Well, let's not go there yet, but we did, after the break of this channel, we started to form this yellow channel. So you get this gets you a small runner, and you kind of make a double top here, and prices start to reverse, and you get a first entry failed second entry short. This is aggressive only because we are not sure yet if prices are gonna continue going higher. But this setup, this is what you want in a failure. You'd prefer it being less congestive, but that's off the trend line. That might be a little less steep. That's off the trend line, and this trend line worked on the highs and the lows. I'm not saying this is going to work for you every time, but this is the look you want. It's right next to the EMA. That's what you want in your failures. So you have that. I don't think you can go. This is just the first entry, even though it looks good. Then we see if you draw your trend line right here, then you might even, yeah, I didn't even mark this, but go long there on the second entry with a low risk bar like that. How much is that? That's a 5-tick bar. And that's off this trend line, and we've been continuously making higher lows. I like that. And if you don't go long there, I think you have to take this higher low off the trend line. People are taking this as a failed second entry short, which I did. I entered on a limit order, but I got scalped out. Because I didn't have this trend line drawn. So it was a poor choice by me. Plus, you're making a double, triple. It looks like you're making a fourth attempt to go higher, but we're finding support along here. So if you drew that and you had that higher low, I think you can go long there. There's room to this high. That's what I'd be looking at. And if you don't go long there, you get a first failed second entry short right here. And I mean, at this point, it's pretty clear that this is a level of support. So this isn't off the EMA, but it is off the what I had marked as the overnight highs. Did I move this by accident? I probably eventually moved it to here. So this is going into the highs, so that might be a bit too aggressive. You get this higher low here, and at this point it looks like we're trending up, and that's why I marked that. But that's definitely aggressive. It's just the first entry. Well, it's not even because we didn't make a new low, so it's really a first, second, failed third entry. And this is a failed fourth entry. I don't think you can take that. So look, the trend up it didn't have the feel of a runaway trend. You know, we're only 8 points out of the overnight highs, and the market had been open for like 45 minutes at this point. So if you're thinking of going short, you get a first failed second entry short right here. When it gets this matching high right here, I don't know about this one so much because that closed above the EMA, but this one, that's tempting. That's very tempting. And you can see that's a good move. Matching highs, so the count resets, but this is just the first entry. Plus, I don't think you would have, you wouldn't have had the trend line by then. Unless you had it off the midline. But if you can't jump in there, so you do get a first failed second entry short right here off the EMA. You could see the midline working up here, so that's off the trend line and the EMA. I think you can go long there because this yellow channel was definitely valid. So we're expecting an attempt at a new high. And we're in a channel, so I think that's a good move. And this is all way too congestive. Way too congestive. I drew it off these lows. Just want to note that you could see it looks like that's a midline. But I would understand if someone had it drawn closer to something like that, but that's how I had it. So we get the breakout, and this midline was really looking pretty valid. I probably at that point would have had it right there, and you can see it looks pretty valid in here. Maybe you would have it here. Let's see. Not sure how I would have it. Here, let's zoom out. At that point, I probably would have had it actually like that. Yeah, I actually did have it like this. I remember now because you can see the midline right there and this congestion. And I looked at this as an overshoot, so I was a little. I think I took this on my practice account, and I was like a little worried that we would get the break. We didn't get it here though, so maybe that's something to factor in. So this is obviously aggressive because it looks like we're trending down, but I looked at it as this congestion and it's a failed breakout, and we're so far from the EMA. I like that, just to go back to the EMA. But definitely aggressive. Unfortunately, you don't get maybe you could enter this too, because that's a higher low, and for me that looks like it's going back into congestion. and we found support at this price level. And when you get a second entry long now off of this key entry point, I think you have to go long there. It's break back into congestion too, and ride that thing to the top of congestion. Look, we touched that price level, bounce, come back. This is a new low. I'm not sure why I marked that. That's too. I mean, if you have your congestion drawn at this midline, that's too aggressive, though. I don't think you can go long there. Here you get a first failed second entry short, but that's too far from the EMA. And we get a break of this channel up. First entry, what looks like it might be a failed second entry short, it doesn't tick lower. So when I got this very bullish bar, I like that for a scalp, and that's what you got. But it is aggressive because it looks like we need to correct and come back to this trend line. So after that, we do attempt to touch that trend line again. We make this low, and when we come back, first entry, second entry, and match those lows, I think you got to take that long. And that gets you a nice, depending on how you manage it, 59.60. You'd probably want to get out by here, which is 3 points. But I think I just took a 2-point runner. So let's take a look at my trades for the day. So I do think that I had correct thinking right here. Failed second entry short, but it's too congested for that. Second entry long, but the signal bar is no good. But I think combining those factors along with the break of this channel and a move to a new low, I think you can go long there. So I'm okay with that one. Need a tissue. This one, yeah, I'm okay with this just because it looks like we made a double top here, but it is aggressive. And you can see, I mean, I didn't get anything more than a little scalp. So on that. Oh, and yeah, here I think this was just getting a little too confident. This is if you're playing range rules here, this isn't at the top of the range. I think what I did like about this, yeah, that is what I liked about this, is look, we make that price level, breakout, fail, first entry, looks like a failed second entry, but first of all, this is too congested for a failure. But that is like a double test of that level. But if you go short beneath this bar, that's a 4-tick failure, right? Pretty sure. 49 and it goes to 48. So sometimes you scalp out when you get 4 ticks, but most of the time you need 5. So really, if you're treating it like a failure, you should be going short at 1 tick beneath this bar. So if I'm entering on a limit order, I need to keep that in consideration. And I entered 1 tick short of that. So once people who shorted this scalped out, they exited, and that's what propelled it up. Whoops. So here's a mental error right here. I had to journal my trades, so I went to my what I consider my real sim account, and I forgot to switch it back to the practice account because I already had my profit target for the day. So when we formed this level, and I was like, oh, maybe this is a runaway uptrend, which it isn't. There's not like tons of dojis and small corrections, so we don't know that. But we made this bounce off the trend line, and that hit a scalper's target. And I was like, oh, let me get in on this move. And wait, did it hit a scalper's profit? No, actually, it didn't. It only hit 4 ticks. I was like, oh, let me get in on this, and just for practice. And first of all, that's a bad entry anyway. But second of all, you need to be damn sure that you are not on your real account when you do stuff like that. And I wouldn't have taken it if I knew it was my real account. So yeah, that didn't work. And then down here, I like this. I like how I spotted this. Your first entry, failed second entry. This one's different than the one I showed earlier that I took because we have way more context to work with, and we know that prices have been trending up all day. So when this one fails and you get that super bullish bar, I like that. And it's a second entry. First entry, second entry. So it didn't fail. The second entry did not fail. Maybe you can't enter on that, though, since this is... Well, it's a double bottom, so I think you can. So yeah, those are the trades I took on my real account today. And that's what I saw for today. I hope everyone has a great weekend. And I'll be back next week.